I need to be honest with you about something. If she rejected you, but she's still watching your stories, still responding when you reach out, still showing signs of interest, I know how frustrating that is. You're sitting there replaying every conversation, wondering if you should text her or stay silent, trying to decode what she really wants. And the worst part, you feel like you're losing your mind trying to figure it out. Here's what most women won't admit. When we do this, we know exactly what we're doing. It's not confusion on our end. There's a specific reason she's keeping you in this position, and that reason determines everything about how you should respond. But here's the critical part. Your next move either increases her attraction or confirms you're exactly who she thought you were. And most men make the wrong move in the first 48 hours without even realizing what's at stake. In this video, I'm going to show you how to read what's actually happening, then give you the exact response that either reignites her interest or gives you definitive closure. Either way, you get clarity and you take back control. Before we dive in, let me be clear about what this video is not about. This isn't about manipulating her or playing games to win her back at all costs. That's not the goal here. The goal is understanding the psychology behind her behavior so you can make an informed decision about whether this situation is even worth your energy. Here's the truth most dating advice won't tell you. When a woman does this, rejects you but keeps contact, there's a pattern at play. And that pattern reveals something specific about what she's thinking, what she's testing, or what she's avoiding. Most men never learn to read this correctly, so they either waste months chasing someone who's not genuinely interested, or they walk away from someone who was actually testing their strength. So let's break down exactly what's happening here. So here's what's actually going on when this happens. You sent a message. Maybe you asked her out, maybe you expressed interest, and she said no. Or maybe she didn't say no directly, but she went cold. Her texts got shorter, her energy dropped. She became busy. That's the rejection part. You felt it. You know what it is. But then she's still around. She likes your Instagram post. She responds when you text, even if it takes a while. She watches your stories. She'll engage in conversation, but it never goes anywhere. And you're stuck in this confusing middle ground where you don't know if you should keep trying or if you're just embarrassing yourself. Here's what you need to understand. This situation is psychologically destructive because it keeps you in a state of uncertainty. You can't move forward. You can't move on. You're analyzing everything. Does that mean something? Was that text flirty or just friendly? Is she waiting for me to make a move? Or is she hoping I'll finally get the hint and leave her alone? And here's where most men get trapped. They respond in one of two ways. Either they chase harder, sending more texts, trying to convince her, over-explaining themselves, being extra available, thinking that persistence will eventually break through. Or they go the opposite direction and ghost completely, unfriend her, cut all contact, trying to show they don't care when really they're just hurt. Both responses are reactive. Both come from emotion, not strategy. And both kill whatever chance you might have had, because they both reveal the exact opposite of what she was looking for. And here's why neither of those responses works. In this video, I'm going to show you 3 things. First, the exact framework to know if she's testing you, or if she's genuinely done. Second, the counterintuitive strategy that either increases her interest or gives you definitive closure. And third, how to execute that strategy without emotion. Because the strategy only works if you're not hoping for a specific outcome. Let's start with the diagnostic framework. Alright, so first thing first. You need to know what you're actually dealing with. Is she testing your frame, or is she genuinely not interested? Here's how you tell the difference. Signs she's testing you. 1. Her rejection wasn't absolute. She didn't say, "I'm not interested. Please don't contact me again." She said something softer. "I'm not ready for a relationship right now. I need to focus on myself. I don't think this is the right time." That language leaves room. That's intentional. 2. She initiates occasionally, but it's low effort. She'll send a meme. She'll respond to your story with a reaction. She'll text, "Hey," out of nowhere. But she's not investing real energy. She's checking if you're still there. 3. She watches your social media closely. Your stories, your posts. She's paying attention to what you're doing, who you're with. She's monitoring your emotional state. Women don't do this with men, they're completely done with. 4. She responds when you don't chase. If you pull back and she notices, if she reaches out or seems more engaged when you're less available, that's a test. She's checking to see if you're outcome independent or if you need her validation. 5. She brings up other guys or her options to see if it affects you. Does it make you jealous? Chase harder. Or stay grounded. Now, signs she's genuinely done. 1. Zero initiation for 2 weeks or more. If she never reaches out first, not even a story reaction, she's not testing. She's just being polite when you contact her. 2. One-word responses only. Yeah. Haha. Cool. No questions back. No effort to continue the conversation. That's not a test. That's her hoping you'll get the message without her having to be harsh. 3. She doesn't view your content. If she's not looking at your stories, not liking your posts, she's mentally moved on. She's not curious about your life anymore. 4. She's actively dating someone else. Not just casually going on dates, but actually in a relationship or seriously pursuing someone. That's not a test. That's clarity. Here's the critical distinction. When she's testing, it's about your reaction. She's watching how you handle rejection, uncertainty, her mixed signals. When she's genuinely disinterested, it's about her options. She's focused elsewhere. The difference is who the situation is really about. But even if she's testing, here's what most guys miss. They don't understand why women do this. And if you don't understand the psychology, you can't respond correctly. Women test men for emotional resilience. It's not conscious or calculated most of the time. It's biological. She needs to know if you can handle pressure, uncertainty, rejection, because those are the exact situations that come up in relationships. If you fall apart when she pulls back slightly, what happens when real-life stress hits? When she's dealing with something difficult and can't be emotionally available for a week. If you can't handle the test, you can't handle the relationship. Here's the double bind she creates. If you chase when she pulls back, you look desperate. You look like you need her validation, like your emotional state depends on her attention. That's unattractive. But if you pull back too aggressively, if you ghost her, unfollow her, make it obvious you're reacting emotionally, you look hurt. You look like you can't handle rejection. That's also unattractive. What she's screening for is a man who can stay grounded regardless of what she does. A man whose frame doesn't break when she tests it. That's what emotional resilience actually means in dating. Not that you don't care, but that you're not controlled by the outcome. Now, the backup option psychology. Some women, not all, but some, keep men on standby while they explore other options. It feels safe to her. She gets to see what else is out there while knowing you're available if nothing better materializes. It's not malicious usually. It's self-protection. She's hedging her bets because she's uncertain. And then there's genuine confusion. Sometimes she really is conflicted. Part of her is attracted to you. Part of her thinks you're not the right fit. Maybe you don't check all her boxes on paper, but the chemistry is there. Maybe she likes you, but the timing feels wrong. That conflict creates inconsistent behavior. She moves toward you when the attraction hits, pulls back when the logic kicks in. The key is this. In all three scenarios, testing, backup, confusion, her behavior creates the same pattern. The only way to know which one it is and whether it's worth pursuing is to see how she responds when you stop chasing. And here's where it gets interesting. There's one move that handles all three scenarios, whether she's testing, keeping you as backup, or genuinely confused. And it's the exact opposite of what every instinct in your body is telling you to do. You pull back. Immediately. Completely. No explanation. No dramatic announcement. No "I need space" text. You just quietly exit. For at least 24 to 48 hours minimum. No texting. No liking her posts. No watching her stories. You create space and you do it without emotion. Now, here's why this works, and why everything you've been told about being persistent is actually destroying your chances. When she's testing your emotional resilience, pulling back demonstrates exactly what she's looking for. It shows you're not controlled by her attention. It shows your emotional state doesn't depend on whether she's responding or not. You're not chasing validation. You're not falling apart. You're grounded. That's what passes the test. Ironically, the men who pass the test are the ones who aren't trying to pass it. They're just living their lives, regardless of her behavior. When she's keeping you as a backup option, pulling back removes her safety net. She can't keep you warm on the sidelines if you're not available. The comfortable attention supply she was getting, gone. Now she has to make an actual decision. Is she interested enough to pursue you, or was she just enjoying the low-effort validation? Your absence forces clarity. When she's genuinely confused, pulling back creates space for her to feel your absence. Confusion is often just a lack of emotional clarity. When you're always available, always pursuing, she never gets to miss you. She never feels what it's like when you're not there. Space allows her attraction to surface without the pressure of your constant presence. If the chemistry is real, she'll feel the gap. But here's what you cannot do. You cannot pull back and then obsessively check if she's noticed. You cannot pull back and post thirsty stories trying to get her attention. You cannot pull back and then drunk text her at 2 a.m. You cannot ask your mutual friends if she's mentioned you. All of that ruins it. Because that's not really pulling back. That's just desperate silence. And she can feel the difference. The pullback only works if it's genuine. If you're truly okay with either outcome. If you're not sitting around hoping she'll reach out. That's the hardest part. It's not the strategy that's difficult. It's executing it without emotion. Without hope. Without attachment to what happens next. But what happens next is where most men sabotage themselves. They pull back, they execute the strategy correctly, and then they misread what comes after. Here's your timeline. Give it 24 to 48 hours of complete silence. Then watch for the next 5 to 7 days. Don't initiate. Just observe. Her response, or lack of response, tells you everything you need to know. Positive indicators. 1. She initiates with substance. Not, "Hey" or "we." She's asking a real question, referencing something you talked about, making an effort to engage. That's a green light. 2. She's apologetic or explains herself. "I've been thinking about what you said. I realized I might have been confusing." She's processing. That means your pullback created genuine reflection, not just annoyance. 3. She asks to meet in person. Not "we should hang out sometime." But "are you free Thursday?" Specific, direct. That's high investment. 4. She's more invested than before. Her texts are longer. She's asking you questions. She's sharing more about herself. The energy has shifted. If any of these happen, you've successfully reset the dynamic. Neutral indicators. 1. Breadcrumb texts. Hey, what's up? How's your week? Low effort. Just checking if you're still there. That's not necessarily bad, but it's not great either. Don't reward it with high investment. Match her energy. 2. Social media engagement without direct contact. She's liking your posts, watching your stories, but not texting. She's curious, but not ready to commit. Again, don't chase. Let her come to you. Negative indicators. 1. No contact whatsoever. 5. 7. 10 days. Nothing. She didn't notice your absence, or she noticed and didn't care. That's your answer. 2. She initiates only to orbit. She reaches out just enough to keep you warm, but nothing changes. Same low-effort energy. That's the backup option dynamic continuing. Don't fall for it. 3. Her energy is the same low investment level. You pull back, she reaches out, but the conversation still feels like work. You're still the one carrying it. That tells you the interest isn't there. She's just being polite or enjoying the attention when it's convenient. Here's the critical test. Does your pullback create genuine concern in her, or just mild irritation? If she's worried she might lose you, that's real interest. If she's just annoyed you're not as available, that's ego. Learn the difference. Now, here's the part that will save you months of wasted time. Once you've seen her response, you need a decision framework. Not emotion. Not hope. Clear criteria. If she gave you high investment response, she initiated with substance, explained herself, asked to meet, showed genuine concern, you can cautiously re-engage. But here's how you do it. You match her energy, you don't exceed it. She texts you a paragraph. You text a paragraph back. She asks you to meet. You say yes, but you're not rearranging your life to accommodate her schedule. You're meeting her where she is, not rewarding mediocrity with overinvestment. And you escalate slowly. One good conversation doesn't mean everything's fixed. You're watching to see if this energy is consistent or if it's just a spike because she felt your absence. If the investment stays high, you move forward. If it drops back down, you pull back again. You're not playing games. You're establishing that your attention is the reward for her consistent investment, not her occasional effort. If she gave you low investment response, breadcrumbs, low effort texts, social media engagement only, here's your move. You don't chase. You don't reward breadcrumbs with a full meal. You match her energy and you stay outcome independent. If she texts, hey, you can respond, hey back. But you're not carrying the conversation. You're not trying to create something from nothing. You're waiting to see if she steps up or if she fades out. Either way, you've got your answer. If she gave you no response, complete silence or low investment orbit, you walk away, not dramatically. Quietly redirect your attention elsewhere. If she's not responding to your absence with genuine concern or increased investment, she's not interested enough. You don't want someone who only keeps you warm on the sidelines. The self-respect filter. At every decision point, ask yourself this question. Am I pursuing her, or is she pursuing me? If you're still the one making all the effort, creating all the opportunities, carrying all the energy, the dynamic hasn't changed. And a relationship where you're always pursuing is a relationship where you're always insecure. That's not what you want. That's not what anyone wants. The goal here isn't getting her back. The goal is clarity and respect. Either she's genuinely interested and she shows it through consistent investment, or she's not, and you move on knowing you didn't waste months chasing someone who was never really available. But even if you execute this perfectly, there's one thing that will ruin everything. And that's doing it with the wrong internal state. Strategy without emotional control is just manipulation. And it doesn't work. Because even if she can't see your face, even if you're not saying the words, she can feel your energy through your behavior. Needy energy kills attraction faster than anything else. If you're pulling back but you're secretly obsessing, checking your phone every 5 minutes, analyzing every notification, she'll sense it the moment she re-engages. And the attraction that might have been building will evaporate. Here's the inner game. You have to genuinely detach from the outcome. Not fake it. Actually be okay with either result. That requires redirecting your attention to other parts of your life, work, goals, other women, friendships, hobbies. Because if she's the only thing occupying your mental space, you've already lost the frame. Practical methods. First, when you catch yourself thinking about her, redirect. Physically do something else. Go to the gym. Call a friend. Work on a project. Second, accept uncertainty. You might never know why she acted this way. You might never get closure. That's okay. What matters is how you respond. Third, recognize that you're not playing games. You're establishing boundaries. The pullback isn't a manipulation tactic. It's you saying, my attention and energy have value. I don't give them to people who don't reciprocate. That's self-respect, not game playing. Here's the test within the test. Can you execute this strategy without hoping for a specific result? Because if you're pulling back to make her chase, you're still outcome dependent. You're still operating from need. The only way this works is if you pull back, because that's genuinely what a high-value man does when someone isn't matching his investment. Not as strategy, as standard. And this brings me to something most dating coaches won't tell you. Because it's controversial. Because it challenges the narrative that if you just do the right thing, she'll come around. But you need to hear it. If she's making you work this hard just to figure out if she's interested, she's probably not the one. I know that's harsh. I know you might not want to accept it. But here's the reality. Women who are genuinely interested in you don't create this much confusion. They don't reject you and then keep you orbiting. They don't make you decode their behavior like you're solving a puzzle. When a woman is truly into you, she makes it relatively easy for you to pursue her. Not effortless, but clear. The mixed signals, the push-pull, the uncertainty, that's not chemistry, that's ambivalence. And ambivalence at the beginning doesn't turn into certainty later. If she's this unsure now, imagine what happens when actual challenges arise. Here's the power flip. Your attention should be the reward for her consistent investment. Not something you give freely, hoping she'll eventually reciprocate. You're not trying to win her over. You're determining if she's worthy of your continued attention. That's the frame shift that changes everything. Most men operate from scarcity. I found someone I like. I need to make this work. High-value men operate from abundance. I like her, but she needs to show she's serious. Otherwise, I'm moving on. It's not arrogance. It's self-respect. So ask yourself this. Are you chasing her because you genuinely see a future with her? Or are you chasing the validation of being chosen? Are you attracted to who she actually is? Or are you attracted to the challenge of winning her over? Because if you're honest, a lot of this pursuit is about your ego, not about her. The truth is, if pulling back reveals that she wasn't that interested, you didn't lose anything. You gained clarity. You gained time. You gained the opportunity to redirect your energy towards someone who actually wants to be with you. That's not a loss. That's a win. So here's exactly what to do starting right now. If you're in this situation, pull back. Give it 48 hours minimum. Watch how she responds. Use the framework from this video to read what that response means. Then make your decision based on her investment level, not on hope. And I want to hear from you. Have you been in this situation before? What did you do? Did you chase? Did you pull back? Or did you walk away? Drop your story in the comments. I read every single one, and your experience might help another man who's going through the exact same thing right now. Look, this channel exists to help men navigate situations like this with clarity instead of confusion, with self-respect instead of desperation. If that's what you're looking for, you're in the right place. Remember this: you're not confused. You know what to do. Now, execute it with discipline. And whatever happens, you'll have your answer. That's what matters.